He laid a strong foundation for his successful teaching career. He was one of among the 14 scientists selected by UGC to visit Hungary under the Indo-Hungarian Faculty Exchange Program during the year 2005 and 6. He was selected for the Indo-Hungarian Intergovernmental Science and Technology Cooperation Program for 2 years. This was by the Department of Science and Technology. Professor Kori has more than 110 research papers published and about 70 presented at national and international seminars. And he has won the Best Oral Presentation Awards also. Professor Kori's experience is more than 3 decades in many institutions with the prestigious posts. To name a few, Professor at Basveshwar Engineering College, Registrar at Vishweshwarya Technological University, Belgaum, Executive Director and Member Secretary, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Chairman of Technical Support Group, RUSA, and he played a pivotal role in successful implementation of RUSA project in Karnataka. In recognition of his services to higher education, especially to technical education, the Indian Society for Technical Education, New Delhi, honored him with the National Best Administrator Award. May I now invite the Honorable Professor S.A. Kori to address the gathering.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Hello.
The policy, lot of deliberations have been taken place. I'm giving you some thoughts what we are looking for the future, but some of the what is the existing issues in the higher education and other things. So I don't want to go for elaborate of this education 1.0 to 4.0, starting from the ancient education to till now. So in 4.0, that is 21st century education, so we are talking about the skill, the learning is are to be done either inside or outside the school. The best example is COVID taught us 2 years of our journey and how the technology has been utilized for the learning process. So now, over the period of 1.1 to 4.0, now we want to visit the Japanese Education Society 5.0. And whatever we teach and whatever we taught in the schools or in the universities and how best it is going to help to the
slide is
society.
not clear.
Much ahead of. Could you hear me properly?
Slide is not clear. Put it into presentation mode.
Presentation mode, yes.
No, are you hearing my voice?
Sir, it is audible but not in a presentation mode.
Sir, you have to respond. Excuse me. You have to respond.
Sir, please show your slide in the presentation mode, sir.
Yeah.
Show it in the full screen mode, sir.
How is it showing?
Now
Yes,
okay, sir.
Fine, sir.
Okay. But I am audible, no? I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So just to move to the second slide now. So that is, we are talking about the education 4.0, that is the 21st century education, where the skill is mandatory to be adopted with the industry collaboration, with the institution collaboration, or any other collaborations. The skill is a must. So that is what embedded. What the challenges is faced by in our education sector is that we have given so far the heavy emphasis on course completion and exam, and has killed the joy and the stress has been increased. Our emotional intelligence has been eroded. Children commit suicide even failing in one of the exam. As earlier speaker said about the values are missing, the respect for others and humor is lost, and we don't introduce so far because the new education policy has provided the introduction of flexible choices, that is the choice-based credit system, or earn their credits from different universities, different institutions, and get their diploma certificate, and these credits are transferable. And there are other challenges facing in the higher education sector. Dr. Tony Wagner, one of the co-director of Harvard, he said there is a global achievement gap. So these gaps are the leap between what we taught in the schools and what must have skill of the future. So the critical thinking and problem solving are missing in our curriculum. Collaboration across network is missing. Agility and adaptability is missing. Initiatives and entrepreneurialism is missing. Effective oral and written communication is missing. And accessing and analyzing information and curiosity for imagination. So these in the current system of higher education, these things are missing. So how do other countries fare with respect to the skill development? So if you look at the globally, and it is accepted across the other students, and look at the Germany, the most of the vocational schools have been, training system have been introduced. So almost 50% of the theory and another 50% of the vocational training which imbibe with the skills. And even if you look at the China, the Singapore, Japan are all promoting the need of the vocational training for their better development. So if you look at the statistics of India only 1 out of 10 students holding a degree in humanities are employable. 1 out of 4 engineering students are capable of employment in case of engineering. And only if you look at the percentage of skilled force in our youth, it is around 12.3%. So it requires a lot of the focus to be given and introduced in the educational system along with our curriculum a skill component. So we need for the transforming education, even if said by the late president, Dr. Mukherjee, we often boost our India's demographic dividend, but the question that arises, what do we do with this if we cannot skill them? So if we cannot educate them and cannot enhance their employability, that was the concern when we had when we were the president office called all the vice chancellors, given the emphasis to be enhanced more skills in our education system. So now the world is looking for the shifting from industrial economy to the knowledge economy, and rising generation brought up to the internet is very differently motivated to learn, especially the generation Z, the student who born after 1990, their access to the internet, their access to the information. So such students to be handled is very difficult. It is challenging for the educational institutions, it is challenging for the teachers, and it is challenging for the academic leaders. So the best quote is the Tirupurlu, the deeper we dig the well, the more water we get, the more we learn, the more wisdom we acquire. That is one of the famous quote on education by the Tirupurlu. Even this book was influenced by the late President Abdul Kalam. So there are 5 common challenges identified by this OECD, that is Economic Cooperation Development. Our curriculum is overloaded, and curricular reforms suffer from time of lags because there is no continuous and updation. the content of high quality is missing. Curricula should ensure the equity while innovating, and careful planning and alignment is critically important for effective implementation. There are other key roles for a teacher and the leader of the institute to transform the skill in the different form. They have to build their capacity in teaching methodology as well as its content. So to stop teaching the spoon feeding, help the student to learn, so that whenever the student asks the questions, we suppress the innovative idea, their dreams, and teacher has to unlearn and be with time. Technology is to be used in the teaching learning methods. So digital transformation, that is the process of re-engineering, is a must. And there are so many impart the skill, make them to be entrepreneurs and employers. So there are some gap between what teachers teaches and the student learn. So factor relating to the teachers, the lack of subject matter mastery. So we are always comparing with the high-end institutions like central universities, IITs, NITs, or the IIMs. So always their updation, the quality of teaching is different, the methodology is different, the teacher appointment is different. There are so many factors affecting to these institutions. If you look at the 40,000 odd colleges in the country and more than 1,000 university and plus universities, and where the teachers are already 50% more or less, it is the posts have not been filled, or the passionate teachers are not there. So these are all depends on the factors relating to the teacher and lack of commitment to the dedication, inadequate, improper. There are so many other parameters where the teacher has to play. And in respect to the relating to the student, students are not insufficient preparation before coming to the class, lack of motivation and commitment, and inadequate attention because of the access to the internet and other things, and inability to keep us face with the lectures. So what we need to do? So class size is too large compared to the European or Western universities. The class size is minimum is our 62, sometimes even the common classes, even it goes with the 100 the students, and lack of educational technology and IT infrastructure in most of the educational institutions, lack of incentive that driven to the good teaching, faculty shortages, and human sensory limitations like visual, audio, the audio visual and the memory. So we need to shift from the paradigm shift from new culture of learning, from traditional to the new. So knowledge transfer was the earlier, now construct the knowledge, on to can do now. Now learn in class, learn in 24/7 because all the information is available in your hand in the size of your mobile. And learn was alone earlier, now you have to learn with teams, and problem based, now it is a design based. So there is also a need to look into the various parameters from teachers. What was the role of the teacher earlier and what is the role of teacher now? It has been shifted into the 21st century. He was no more a teacher, now he is a facilitator and he is a mentor, and he has to be with the part of the student. Then we can bring that kind of a skilling and other things. The roles and responsibilities of the teacher, the student is given. So here also, if you look at the desirable characteristic, what the student and the graduates and teachers are needed. So the last column, if you look at, the teacher need to have a desirable attributes. He should have a good domain knowledge in the mastery, the pedagogic skills, awareness of Bloom's taxonomy and outcome-based education, that is very, very important. Most of the even teacher and student do not know what for that course, the individual subject is, why they are studying, what is the outcome, what for the course outcome, what for the discipline outcome, what for the individual subject outcome, where they have to apply those subjects, may not be knowing. So this kind of the training is a must for the teacher and in the 21st century. And ability to innovate and inspire and understanding the role of facilitator as a coach. The teacher is no longer as what I said earlier. So again, there's some more thing. We should be familiar with the e-learning, blended learning, online learning, sensitive to needs to the national development, collaboration with the industry and other partners, ability to meet the needs of high students, including high and low performance, and he should become a role model. If you look at the statistics of a teacher, we have around 15 to 20% a fascinating teacher, around 20% is a dedicated teacher, and remaining I don't want to make any comment. So the more than 50% of the teachers of the third category, and expecting from them the new challenges in the 21st century to teach the curriculum is very, very difficult. So we have to focus on the new innovation, the new critical thinking, new gadgets to be used, and continuously they have to update the subject in every year and every class. So I can give some of the example. Even we also have a time when we have many heroes like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Larry Ellison, and Mark Zuckerberg, and they're all dropout students, and they're not got any degrees from the university, but their contribution based on the acquiring the skill and fashion to think differently, so that made the best of the best in the world. So nowadays, some of the universities like Stanford or MIT offer world-class educational content which are available for free of to all our stakeholders. And it's thank that in ADP they bought embedded, so the credits can be acquired from any of the institutions, and that can be taken the analysis, then it can be awarded a degree. The certificate program of these institutions could also well represent an entirely new category of educational offerings which might be come into the arrival to the power of the traditional any other degrees. There are different teaching styles, there are different models are available. I don't want to go into deep into this face-to-face learning. There is also a COD model who taught in a different kind of an teaching methods for the student. And in 1 hour of class, then how the student to be keep to be engaged around 45 minutes or 50 minutes or 1 hour of classes is very, very difficult nowadays. Even in MIT also, the students, they become, after 10 to 15 minutes, they become very laborious and diverting their attention and other things. And some of the teachers complained to the director of this MIT. Then they came out with a philosophical idea. So any teacher who teaches out of 1 hour, that first 15 minutes, how we deliver the content is most important. Because the person, the listening capability or concentration, it doesn't exceed more than 15 minutes. So now we have to use the various gadgets for the teaching to make their mode to be attentive to the deliver to the faculty who can use the different gadget so that their mind can be diversion can be minimized. That is one of the studies said recently. So the philosophy behind the course is, first we should look into the curriculum is to be designed, the product is first, the work integration should be linkage to that, and why you are taking that kind of a skill is important, and create the future leaders, not just you the unemployment youth or unskilled youth post to the society. It is the responsibility of the institutions to think beyond out of the box. So they should go with the knowledge and where the skill has to be enhanced in every stages of their life. So there are some of the foundation courses to be they can think of by taking into the crucial 21st century skill. These are just indicative. So the curriculum can be introduced with the critical thinking, the professional skills, the learning how to learn, as he said, things of economics, politics, the society, the principles of science, mathematical thinking, how human languages work, and tools and techniques for creative thinking. The English is another one, the introduction of philosophy, discovery, fundamentals of business management, and there are 1 or 2 electives of human mind and other. These are just the list which can be imbibed with the existing curriculum so that they can also learn the subject. In addition to this, these additional skills they can acquire during their study, whether it is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whatever it is during their stay, and they can acquire these kind of skills. There are many methods also. Learning should be defined by process of outcome but not by the calendars and places. Now it has been changed. The computer assisted instruction, then hybrid classrooms, the faculty to be trained and good promising practices need to be shared because of the time shortage. We just move it to the very fast. And heterogeneous classrooms is also you can think of partly they'll be in the class, partly will be outside and you can take to the industry and other places. Go beyond technical and academic skills. Anyway, I shared the my PPT that can also be posted into or circulated into the others. The teaching social and interaction skills is another one, and behavioral skills is another things to be added into the curriculum. The content development is very, very important. The high content quality, and every year, every 1 year, 2 year, the content is to be updated by the universities or by the individual departments by having a inducting any of the industrial person or any other the company's CEO. So what kind of the companies needed these skills. Then managing the change is another important thing. There are 7 parameters which are to be looked into. So now the conclusion is as the world changes, so does the future of our student. And to conclude broadly, transformation may be introduced in the different areas. There is a need for transforming the pedagogy, the culture, and approach to technology. Education transformation is a process of people change as much as digital. So it is the responsibility of the leaders. They are responsible for the culture, strategies, structures, and politics involved in change. Teacher responsibility is a professional development, and training for the teachers is the best way to overcome the knowledge gap between the 20th and 21st century teaching. And student responsibility is they should be trained with the suitable skills so that they can enter the drastically shifting employment market confidently. So this is the need of the hour. They made a provision in the NEP, and UGC also issued plenty of circulars now, and to include these skills in the curriculum. The MOOC has been introduced. It has been increased from 20 to 40%. The student can earn the credits from anywhere else, the best content, and he can acquire the degree. So that is the way we have to look into. With this, I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak few words on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening words on skill development, need for transforming education, common challenges on OECD, role of teachers and leaders towards technological transformation. Our sincere and humble thanks for delivering the address. May I You're welcome, sir. May I now request Professor T. Sankadir to introduce the next resource person.
Sorry for the confusion, the order of the speakers. Now it's my pleasure duty to introduce Dr. P. Kanak Sabamani, known for his India-centric research works. He is a professor, author, and writer involved in pioneering field studies in different centers across the country. One of his books, entitled Indian Models of Economy, Business and Management, is considered a major initiative towards Indianizing the education system, and it is recommended to the premier institutions such as IIT Mumbai and IIM Bangalore. One of his other books, Prosperous India, has been translated into different languages, including Hindi. He has also written for the CBSC. A member and former chairman in charge of Indian Council for Social Science Research. He was earlier the director of the state-level training and research institute promoted by the Tamil Nadu state government. He is involved in initiatives to introduce the Indian knowledge systems into the curriculum. He has been part of administrative and academic bodies of universities and research organizations at national and state levels. His present responsibilities include member Executive Council, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, Amarkantak, member Governing Council, Madras Institute of Developmental Studies, member Academic Committee, National Academy of Audit Accounts, Shimla. Thank you.
Professor Kumaravel, learned Vice Chancellors, senior academicians, Shri Vinod Ji, young scholars and student friends. Much of the education system even today remain colonized. The first subject a sociology student learns when he attends the first year is that India and China will not develop because they have Hindu and Buddhistic backgrounds. It is only countries with Protestant backgrounds that would develop. This theory was developed by one person called Max Weber in 1905. Still, this is the first subject that we teach. And if we take economics class, we start with 1950 macroeconomic data, which shows India as a poor, underdeveloped country, during which time 18% was the literacy rate, 32 years was the average age of life expectancy. More than 80% of the people were living below poverty line, so that was taken as the benchmark. But 1950 India is not the entire India, as the Honorable Governor was speaking this morning. 1950 India was India after all exploitation. Will Durant said it is the most criminal exploitation anywhere in the global history. $45 trillion worth of amount were looted from India in a period of less than 180 years. 45 trillion means if we take the global GDP now, 55% of today's global GDP was looted by Europeans in a period of just 180 years. So that is the first subject that we are teaching to the economic students. In fact, now in the last 30-35 years, there have been many studies that are going on across the country to see the economic background of different countries. And one very important study was done by OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This is the group of rich countries in the world. Its headquarters is in Paris, France. They undertook a study for about 17-18 years, came out with a report called World Economic History, a Millennial Perspective in 2001. The report said during the last 2 millennia, for at least 85% of the time, India and China were the two top most economies, with India leading the world almost most of the time. 2022 years back, India's contribution to global GDP was 32.9%, one-third. China was coming behind, 26.2%. Always India was leading the globe. So we were the top performers in today's term, superpower, and we were the most sustainable economic power in the global history, but that we don't teach. We don't teach students this. So this is the problem. And it is not just history, even the contemporary happenings we don't teach. I'm a management teacher. When we go to the classroom, we teach in finance class mostly the Western American theories. And one such theory or model that we teach is called Black-Scholes theory or Black-Scholes model. There is a background to this theory. In 1997, for this Black-Scholes theory, the authors of this theory or model, their short names, Black and Scholes, they got Nobel Prize in 97. You know, for about 11-12 years between mid-1980s and 1997, Nobel Prizes in economics were always given to finance professors. So 1997, these people too got Nobel Prizes, but unlike their predecessors, they thought, you know, why should we go and work in a university for a fixed salary when our own model theory is accepted, and people are using this model to make money. So they resign their jobs, set up a company, become full-time advisors. There was huge expectation in the global financial market because for the first time, 2 Nobel laureates are going to be full-time advisors of a company testing their own models. Many people invested their money. You know, some of the senior executives resigned their jobs and joined this company. But you know, when first year results came in 1998, they lost not just their investment, but 40 to 50 times of their investment. They became bankrupt. They lost all the money. They did not know what to do. Again, went back to teaching. But this failed theory we are teaching even today, including maybe here in Thiruvarur, finance class. So this is the problem that exists in the current education system. And this is not limited to social sciences alone. Other subjects also. There is one very honest vice chancellor was there in those days, 10-15 years back, Anna University, Balagurusamy professor. You know, he is an electrical engineer. He used to say one thing: we teach 4 years electrical engineering to students. So after 4 years completing his degree, he comes home. Mother says, there is no fuse in our house, some electricity problem, can you fix it? Son does not know. But the ordinary maid knows. She immediately goes and then does the connection. Everything is okay. So even after studying 4 years of engineering, a student does not know how to fix this fuse. So this is the problem. So the universities remain islands today. And I am one of the biggest critics of this present system. We are remaining a island and we are becoming irrelevant to a large extent in social sciences. We are becoming irrelevant. We don't teach what is one required and what is actually happening. You know, India is perhaps the most vibrant society in the world. 70 years back, as I said in the morning, we were very poor. Today, we are one of the most potential nation in the world. Why? What is the reason? The society is vibrant. Today, 31% is the saving rate in India. For every 100 rupees, our own fathers, our own mothers, sisters, brothers, they save 31%. Nationalized banks alone have got more than 150 lakh crores as deposits. This is only one avenue for saving. I don't have time, otherwise I would explain to you. So we save so much money and everything goes for productive purposes. As a result, our people promote units after units. You know, India has more than 85 million entrepreneurs, perhaps the largest number in the world, 8.5 crore. Even if we take the small business sector, small businesses, we have more than 63 million businesses, 6.3 crore. One of the, perhaps the highest number in the world. So our people are highly entrepreneurial, highly vibrant people. And it is because of them we are moving forward. We are moving forward. So as I said, today our GDP in purchasing power parity terms exceeds more than $10 trillion. This is not a joke. No other country in the world has made such a U-turn from being a poor country 70 years back to be the third largest economy in the world 70 years after. No other country has achieved this distinction in the global economic history. Our society is functioning. It is our ordinary people, our own parents, our own sisters, our own brothers who are taking India forward. There are about 3,000, 4,000 industrial, business, agricultural clusters in India. They are taking India forward. Today, Tamil Nadu is one of the economically advanced states in spite of problem. India is one of the, going to the next stage. Why? Because we have powerful business, industrial, agricultural centers promoted by ordinary people. You take Coimbatore, from which I come, there are about 6-7 different types of industries that are working. In the entire country, for the entire country, 60% of the pumps that we use in our homes go from Coimbatore. About 30% of our automobile spare parts go from Coimbatore. About 60% of India's knitted garment exports go from Tirupur. So this is the background of Tamil Nadu. And who is responsible for it? It is not educational institutions. Educational institutions do not go anywhere near them. Even after they flourish, we don't go near them. We believe that the Western theories would help get some employment to us. We are very, very happy. So it is the ordinary people of our country who are taking this. 50, 60 years back, these were all very ordinary places. In 1980s, there were no exports in Tirupur. 1985, 15 crores. Today, 2021, 35,000 crore exports, 35,000 crores domestic business, totally 70,000 crores. It is not Tamil Nadu alone. Throughout India, it is like that. There is a place called Surat in Gujarat. One place, 2 businesses, 2 lakh crore turnover, annual turnover. Textile trade, last year turnover was 90,000 crores. Diamond trade, 80,000 crores. Today, international diamond market is dominated by Indians. 70% of international diamond business takes place through us. So this is a completely different society, and we don't study about it. We know nothing about it. This is because of the university system. We have to completely break this barrier, smash this barrier. In fact, functioning India lies outside the campuses of universities and colleges. The society is the open air university. So we have to study them. And national education policy is, in fact, a boon, as I said in the morning, to take a review of our work and then to look for the actual functioning systems. Some of us who remain in the field for last 27, 28 years, when we go and study, we see completely new India. You take our own mothers, sisters in families, you know, the kind of roles that they play in economic activities, business activities, enormous. Now for the last 5 years, I am offering a course in a university titled Women in Indian Economy and Society. Wherever we go, meet the entrepreneurs, they always say, sir, our success is due to my mother, my wife, even my sisters, my grandmother. I just briefly mentioned a study that we made about 17, 18 years back. In this part, Trichy part of Tamil Nadu, there are 3 villages from which the businessmen who promoted this Arya Bhavan, Ananda Bhavan, Vasanta Bhavan hotels come. Now they are there across the country and in different parts of the world also. When we studied them, 21% of the promoters said, sir, when we required initial capital, funds were supplied by our married sisters. So sisters after their marriage go to their husband families, nudge their husbands to provide funds to the brothers, and this is how hotel industry has grown. But we don't know anything about it, and the families, societies play a very dominant role, very important role. And the reason for this is our culture, our civilization. So that is the reason why, as I said in the morning, India is not just a new country, it's an ancient civilization and the longest living civilization. So when we see the history, we have at least some, as far as I know, 9,000 years of economic history now. And India contributed to diverse fields, whether it is chemistry or physics or metallurgy or mathematics. So the curriculum should have at least initially the historical background, whatever may be the subject. And in every field, India had contributed something or other 2,000 years back, 2,500 years back. This is one. But second part, more important part is we have to involve the contemporary aspect. And we have not involved it because since the time of Macaulay, we have been largely influenced by this colonial mindset. And as a result, even today, you know, whatever we teach is based on the Western theories, Western approaches. We have to understand that Western approaches have completely failed in their own birthplaces, whether it is economic approach, sociological approach, business approach, they have largely failed. Of course, whenever some good things are there, we have to take it. It is not that we know everything, we have to take it. But we have enormous positive aspects here, which we have ignored for a long time. And this is the point that we have to keep in mind as the leaders of education, vice chancellors, heads of institutions. It is our duty to see that the universities, education system is aligned to the realities. At present, it is not the case. It is not the case. So as a result, the problem develops. You know, students wouldn't like to sit in the classrooms. It is not because their fault. It is our fault. It is our fault. It is the kind of subjects that we teach. It is the kind of curriculum that we have. So this is the problem. So what are the suggestions? What would be the suggestion? I would suggest that as far as these social science subjects are concerned, it should be made more relevant. You know, field study should become part of the study subject. It could be anything, because India is completely different kind of society. It's a unique society. That is the reason why, you know, for thousands of years, India remained as a prosperous country, contributing to diverse fields, whether it is economics or metallurgy or whatever the subject, contributing so much, because in those days, the education system was aligned to the realities, attached to the society. There was breakup, for about 1,000 years, we were attacked by the aliens, invaders. In a period of 200 years, we were completely destroyed by the Europeans. But in spite of it, even after that, in a period of just 70 years, Indian society gained strength and it is rebuilding itself. Even today, you cannot compare any other society with India. We have that much background. But unfortunately, the education system is not reflecting the realities. So let us go beyond the curriculum. Let us look outside the university campuses. Let us begin to look at India's problems from Indian point of view, and then let us collect details, recognize the functioning Indian system, what we call functioning system or performing systems. As I said in the morning, now many Western universities are coming. They have started coming and studying about Indian system. It is not just about economic system, business systems, even cultural system. There is Maha Kumbh Mela going on very frequently. Last Maha Kumbh Mela, 7 Harvard institutions, Harvard Medical College, Harvard Engineering College, they all came here to India and then studied. But none of us study about it, because 13 crore people assembling in a period of 45 days. It happens nowhere in the world. No invitation is being sent to them. They all come there, spend one day, take bath, pray the God, leave as it is, without any social problem. On a particular day called Mauni Amavasya, 3 crore people assemble. So this is the strength of our society, but we don't study about it. Foreigners are coming and studying about us. So it is time for us to look within ourselves. And this national education policy is providing an opportunity for us. Thank you very much.
We would like to place a sincere and humble thanks to Professor Kanaka Sabapathy for the words on breaking the barriers, study and implementation of NEP. Thank you, sir. Let me invite Professor T. Sankati to introduce the next resource person.
So now it's my duty to introduce Professor G. Kadabira. With decades of experience in various roles, including Director in Charge, Dean of Research and Consultancy, Founder, Director of CEDI, the Head of the Department of NIT Trichy, Professor Kadabira is now leading a team of faculty to make IIIT Sri City as a nationally relevant and globally recognized entrepreneurial institution. He is a recipient of the Commonwealth Professional Fellowship, 2 Fulbright Fellowships, and the British Council Study Fellowship. And he also served as the National Expert for Asian Productivity Organization. Professor Kadabiran has carried out research projects with national and international organizations including DAITI, AICTE, UKIERI, and the Asia Foundation in Industry Institute Interaction. Computer-based learning, entrepreneurship development, graduate employability, SME development, data privacy, etc. He spearheaded the launch of 2 industry-oriented specializations in IT consulting and business analytics, and published about 50 research papers. May I now invite the most esteemed Professor Kadabiran to deal with this. Thank you, sir.
Can you get a PPT, please? PPT. Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I don't know how much time I have. And somebody told me that snakes have come inside the hall. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, inside. I thought I'll wake you up. open the PPT. Click, double click. All right, finally the PPT has come. So I took it very seriously and prepared a few slides also. I also gave a topic, a theme to my presentation today. Leveraging demographic dividend through skill development. Next. So I'll take about 10 minutes and close. Next page. Move ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. All right. Okay. Skip this slide. Also skip this slide. Please skip. I want to talk about my institute. No time, so I don't want to talk about it. This I'll spend 30 seconds. All of you know what is demographic dividend, and there are so many articles, so many people have spoken about the economic, the so-called demographic dividend of India. And now, is this demographic dividend is an opportunity or a challenge? And it's a question to be answered. And NEP 2020 is going to be the silver bullet to manage the situation. Next slide. Next. Okay. So I'll straight focus on skills. Today, employability of our graduates is a major challenge. And about a few days ago, I read a newspaper article which says about 15 lakhs of engineering graduates are not employable. So in terms of percentage, it is as much as 40 to 50% of our graduates are not employable. And that is being the case. And we are going to add so many thousands of engineers into the market, and this problem is not going to get solved. And the so-called demographic dividend is also going to be a burden for us. So the basic problem is lack of practical learning. And we think always that we teach students only in the classroom, and the students learn only by our teaching. That's where we make a bigger mistake. And particularly in today's context, and today's youth, and today's the impact that the social media is making, and there are so many channels for the students to pick up information, and which the traditionally teacher used to provide, and that kind of teaching is not going to help, and that's where we are making an issue. Now, skilling of current students is very, very important, and in today's job market, particularly in technology domains, be it computer science, ECE, or mechanical, or any other branch, the skill part of it is very important. And you must have seen or you must have heard that in institutions like NIT or IIIT, if you are a 9-pointer, you are a 9-pointer. You get those companies that say we will allow students who are having 9 CGPA, and those companies will select only 9 CGPA. And for the rest, whether it's 7.5 or 8.5 or 6.5 is immaterial. The company has its own process to select the candidates. So now, what essentially it means is that skilling is very important, and they are looking at the skills of the students. So if you want your students today to get good placement or you to become good entrepreneurs, then you need to focus on skill. And we have a term called upskilling. You know, the technologies, particularly the AI, ML, robotics, embedded systems, IoT, and all these technologies have come in the last 10 years, and 40% of the IT workforce are becoming irrelevant, and they are not able to be relevant to the jobs that they need to perform. So therefore, these companies are today looking at upskilling. Anybody who has graduated and works in the industry 0 to 5 years is looking for upskilling. And we talk about cross-skilling. somebody is working for about 10 years time, and there are new technologies coming in, or there are new methodologies coming in, and they need to be trained. For example, if there is a mechanical engineer who's working in an industry in a manufacturing context, and the whole bunch of information technology that has come in has changed the way the manufacturing is done. So they need to be trained in the other domain. Or, there are a lot of our graduates who get into industry, in IT industry, in an IT job, they eventually land in a functional jobs. Therefore, we need to look at cross-skilling. And you also talk about reskilling. If somebody today with 15 years of experience in the industry, whatever he has learned as a student in the first 10 years is completely becoming irrelevant, so he has to be completely reskilled. Now this, for us to see that this skilling requirement for different bunches of people needs a complete ecosystem. That ecosystem involves the universities, the government, and the industry. Next slide, please. Next slide. All right. So what I'm going to talk to you about is what we have done in our institute as part of our Nep implementation. So it took about 8 months for us to look at how to go about implementing it, and we looked at, I'm just talking about few aspects. We looked at professional skills, life skills, and social skills. We systematically, sort of revised the curriculum from about 160, 170 credits to, we brought it down to 144 credits. And we thought by letting students to do a lot of activities by themselves, they will learn. And it is all about projects, and projects. Every subject we introduce project, and every such project will have our 10 to 40% weightage in those subjects. And we focus on communication skills. One of the major challenge today is about for the students to communicate well for the first time in the job interviews and subsequently in the jobs. Now we have introduced 4 communication skills course in the first 2 years of engineering. And all when we admit students, we screen the students for certain level of abilities. And those students who are screened out need not attend this course, first course, but rest of the students have to attend the first preparatory course. And the rest of the students will attend as many as 3 courses. And we have industry-based workshops. Every semester in every discipline, sub-discipline, like AML or cyber security or wireless communication or whatever, we conduct these workshops so that they understand what is required and what skills they need to acquire. And we've introduced most recently track of courses with focus on skills. I'm sure that some of you working in the computer science domain, there is a job role today called full stack development. And this is a top job opportunity in the industry. And it is very difficult for our teachers to teach the subject because be it IIT or NIT, our teachers don't program it. They cannot write programs, but they will ask the students to write programs. Correct? So what has happened is now in the first thing we have introduced a track of courses and we brought industry people to teach the course. And this has led to phenomenal improvement in terms of their ability as well as to get good placements. And we also very systematically linked the curricular and co-curricular activities in such a way that the clubs that they run is an extension of the classroom learning. And last one is the faculty training and development. As I just now said that the faculty cannot teach, now in our institute at least, we have got an approval for 2 crores of budget for faculty development and training. And what we are now doing is, all those computer science faculty, for example, have to undergo training in full stack development and they should offer the course. And the training that they attend, the institute will reimburse the fee. Okay? So maybe in the first time he or she will teach 50% and 50% industry experts will teach, and the percentage will increase. Eventually the teacher will be able to teach by themselves. But then at the end of the day the teachers ask, what do I get? Why should I take that trouble of doing it? So we have introduced what is called a performance incentive scheme. First ever time in our country, government linked institute, we have introduced a performance appraisal and incentive scheme. A faculty can earn up to 25% more in a given year if they perform good in teaching, good in research. Next slide, please. Next slide, last slide. Is that last slide? Who's controlling this? Okay. So now, having seen the success in the last 2 years, what we did is we used, as most of you know, OBE, outcome-based education model. But what we did further is we tightly controlled at the session level. So in every session, those of you know what is outcome-based education, you have something called course objectives and program objectives. Now the course objectives further we divided into unit-wise objectives or lecture outcomes. So that this is being captured at the lecture outcomes. This is being also audited by an external experts at the end of the semester. So there, seeing the success, now we are introducing a BTech blended learning mode program for graduates. The BSc Maths, BSc Computer Science, BCA, Diploma in Computer Applications. Those people with 2 years of experience can do BTech Computer Science and ECE. The board has in principle agreed and we are working on it. We are also launching this year MTech blended learning mode for working professionals. This is what I said, upskilling. This is actually, here, cross-skilling. This is where we are focusing on upskilling for those BTech graduates who have got 1 or 2 years experience. We're looking at certificate diploma programs in smart manufacturing. This is for those people cross-skilling. Those people in the manufacturing industry, they want to learn smart manufacturing technologies, they can go through this. And also integrated programs in related areas with other universities. These are our plans for next 2 years. So all these are approved by the board, but then we are working on the details now. Is that right? Next slide. Next slide. Thank you.
Our sincere and humble thanks for enlightening words on skills of learning, practical learning on National Education Policy 2020 and is a silver bullet, India's demographic dividend, and employability of graduates. Thank you very much, sir. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, says Benjamin Franklin. Dr. Narasimha Sharma, NVS, is the director of Indian Institute of Information Technology, Trichy. Earlier, he worked at Data Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. He has been with the Department of Electronics and Communications Engineering at Regional Engineering College, National Institute of Technology, Warangal, holding various positions since 1980. Dr. Sharma is the recipient of Best Researcher Award of NIT Warangal for the year 2016. 6 students received their doctoral degrees under his guidance. About 90 papers are at his credit in international and national journals and conferences. Dr. Narasimha Sharma was associated with many prestigious missile projects and was also a part of many training programs for working professionals in ECIL and DRDO. In addition, he coordinated one GIAN program. He is the chief investigator of the E&ICT Academy set up at NIT Warangal by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. He is a member of Academic Councils of NIT Andhra Pradesh and also a member of the selection committees of defense scientists. Honorable Sir, I kindly invite you to address the gathering. Thank you so much for being the rapporteur for the session 1. Now, let me invite our chairperson, Professor Karpal Kumaravel, to honor our resource persons. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Pawan Kumar Singh, Director, IIM Trichy. Sir, please come to the dais. He's not here, so let me invite Dr. Kanaka Sabapati, former Chairman, ICSS, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite Professor G. Kannabiran, Director IIIT, Sri City, Chittoor. Thank you so much, sir. Now, let me extend my heartfelt thanks for Professor T. Sankate for introducing the resource persons. And thank you, sir, Professor Karpaga Kumaravel, sir. By that, we have come to the end of session 1, breaking the boundaries of curriculum, imparting skills and competencies required for India's 21st century. Let me extend my heartfelt thanks to the chairperson, Professor Karpaga Kumaravel, sir, Professor T. Sankate, sir, and all the resource persons, and the rapporteur, and all the faculties and participants and students who have enriched this session. Thank you, one and all.